Yes, we can start now, madam.
Madam, please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jitendra.
Madam, you switch on your video.
Yeah, my video is on.
Yes, madam, please continue, madam.
Video is on, है ना, Dr. Jitendra?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Please continue, madam.
On है.
Okay. Okay. So a very good morning to all the participants, including our respected teacher, Dr. R.N. Ram sir, faculty members, and dear students. I welcome all of you in today's webinar. Dear participant, as you know, we have attended a series of webinars in last couple of days on various technical as well as entrepreneurial aspects under IDP and HEP project. So to continue this chain, today we have another webinar on a very interesting topic, that is in eDNA or environmental DNA by a very eminent speaker and a wonderful and my respected teacher, Dr. Raj Narayan Ram sir from College of Fisheries, Pantnagar. Once again, I welcome you, sir, and we are very much eager to listen you. So now I formally invite to Dr. Prabjit Singh, coordinator of this webinar, to briefly introduce our respected teacher, our incredible teacher, and today's speaker. Dr. Prabjit, please.
Jitendra, I'm audible.
Please, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
All praise to the Almighty Vaheguru, God, Bhagwan, Allah, who is the most merciful and the creator of this whole universe. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guru Vaya Namaha. So the students, you might be wondering that it might be the first webinar where I started with Guru Vandana. The reason behind this is that today we have not only a eminent speaker with us, but a most revered Guru and teacher with us, who has been our teacher, our Guru, our mentor, and a fatherly figure for all of us, including Dr. Datta and Dr. Grishma, and all of us. Okay. It is very difficult job for a student to introduce his Guru, his teacher. But with the kind permission of my Guru, I take this opportunity and I feel highly privileged that I have to introduce my teacher, Dr. Raj Narayan Ram. So to begin with, first of all, I would say that Ram sir is a teacher par excellence. I have never in my life came across such a wonderful teacher. So Dr. Ram had his formal education from most revered Vidyapeeth, that is Banaras Hindu University. Under the Center of Advanced Studies in Banaras Hindu University, with special emphasis on fish biology and fish biotechnology. Afterwards, Sir started his career as an assistant professor in College of Fisheries, Pantnagar, and rose to the position of professor and head Department of Fisheries Biology. Now it is Fisheries Resource Management. Besides serving as a two-term selected head of the department, he served the university in other capacities, including Joint Director of Research and Controller of Examinations. Sir has guided more than 10 PhD students, including myself, and more than 12 PG students as major advisor, co-guide. Sir has handled 2 ICR research projects, very innovative and very prestigious research project. One on Clarius Batricus and other on reservoir management. Besides that, he has more than 100 publications to his credit in peer-reviewed high-impact journals. Sir has been nominated and awarded 3 times Best Teachers Award by PFGF. Besides this, he is a wonderful human being, because if I don't say that, my introduction will be incomplete. He is a wonderful human being. He had been a fatherly figure for all the students, including us. He has not only guided us professionally, but always at the professional, personal front also. Whenever we are stuck at any stage of life, we immediately seek his blessings, and he readily is available for any kind of help. You are with us for such a wonderful topic, and I hope your lecture will enlighten our students and the faculty also. Thank you so much, sir.
Now, may I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can start, please.
Thank you, Dr. Prabjeet. Sir, I kindly request you to present.
First of all, I pay my regards for the PI of the NAIB as well as the coordinator of IDP. Then the Dean PG, Dean College of Fisheries, then HODs of the College of Fisheries got Basu hai, and Madam Meera, most probably she had also joined. If not so, then but at least I pay my regards to her also, and good luck and good wishes to faculty members, because most of them, they are my students, and that's why I have right to actually extend to them the good luck and good wishes for the coming new year 2021. And to others actually I pay regards. For a student also who have joined, and the academicians who have joined in this webinar, to them also I extend the good luck and good wishes for the happy new year 2021. Now with this actually simple introduction, so many things has been actually narrated, said by, praised by my students, Grishma as well as Jitendra and Prabjeet. You will be the better audience, will be the who are participants, they will be the better evaluator whether I deserve for that actually worthy titles and words which has been just said by the Dr. Prabjeet, Dr. Grishma and others. One thing more I would like to actually say about the Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, on that actually above the Guru teacher, in my actually always I used to teach them, and I used to say to others also, and it is same thing I am extending to the students who have joined. Above the Guru is also someone there, and they are the parents. No one is above that parents. They are the first, second to that I can say Guru, and third to that mighty God, whoever so. Now I will start my topic. My presentation is a very actually simple presentation from actually preparation point of view, but from its importance point of view, it is a new actually innovative topic, that is the eDNA. Because for fisheries actually, the having the knowledge of the population structure, population status and their diversity, whether it is the only fish diversity or overall all the diversity of the all actually communities who are there in the aquatic ecosystem, the knowledge of those actually communities who are today and who are not today, in past they had been there, they have also played role in the betterment of that actually the habitat ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. For that purpose, actually, if you are going for the traditional method of assessment of the biodiversity, including all that is the plant biodiversity, then producer biodiversity, that is basically phytoplankton and other food organisms as well as the fish, it will be very difficult. It may be possible that so many actually, suppose you might be known, you have been taught by your teachers that actually for stabilizing any of the new water body, how much time takes? 20 to 25 years, that is the minimum time which is required for actually stabilizing a new actually man-made developed water body. Suppose if you take the reservoir, Harike reservoir, that Harike reservoir for its actually the stabilization from all point of view, from fisheries point of view, from community point of view, from actually that natural fish food organism production point of view, at least minimum time which is required, that is the 20 to 25 years. During this period, what happens actually? Community succession happens. So many actually new genera, new species of all living beings, they actually develop there. Some of them, they die, and some of them they are able to survive, and ultimately after 25 years whoever is there, they are participating in the that ecosystem. But who have not been there, who were there but now they are not there, how you will know? With the traditional method it will be not possible for you to know that how many phytoplanktons were there at the time of actually initial development of Harike Reservoir or the Tehri Reservoir of the Uttarakhand, that is the largest reservoir which has been developed here, and Dr. Prabjit has worked on that Tehri Reservoir, then it will be not possible. For that purpose, because we can't ignore the role of those who had been there, but now they are not there. And for that purpose, actually, traditional method will not work. Only this method, that is the environmental DNA. That is the method by which we can say something, we can assess their actually presence that they were there. Now, this is the prelude. What are the topics? Now, if you come, this actually your screen sharing. It is flashing. Needs of eDNA technology is still what I can do. I will keep it somewhere else in the corner. Needs of eDNA technology. First of all, conservation and management biodiversity, as I said, monitoring of abundance of rare or patchy. Patchy means patchily, who are actually very in rare condition. To them, by catch, by traditional method, we can't actually have their knowledge that they are there. However, directly observing it is very difficult. Many methods such as camera traps, mass survey, acoustic survey, whatever actually even more expensive equipments which are available as on today, they are also taking time consuming. And by using them also, you will be not able to have the full knowledge, the knowledge of those who are not there, who were there but not there. For that actually purpose, there is need of the eDNA technology. It is recent technology which is being used. It is about the actually DNA. It is known to everyone. Only thing is that here, this DNA is the CPU of biological activities, as our brain is the CPU of whole biological system, and then within that of the biological system CPU is the DNA. It have control over the all biological activities. It is known to everyone. It is not new thing. The concept of eDNA, actually from where it starts, the story of the concept of eDNA. All organisms constantly said, what happens actually, some parts of the bodies, either in the form of actually, if you are taking the fish cells, if you are taking the plants, then they are actually leaves, they are being shed out. And where? In that environment. That is we are talking much more concerned with the aquatic environment. That is the aquatic environment. Via what may be the metal? Via fecus or the skin particles. Skin particles may be in case of fish scales, maybe in case of the fish, if they have non-scaly fishes, then along with their mucus secretion, they will set the skin cells. In early 2000, scientists came up with the idea that actually collecting the DNA of organisms from environmental samples, and by that way we can assess the presence of those who were but who are not there. Using this method, it is possible to detect, same thing as we mentioned here, it is using this method, it is possible to detect a species without actually seeing or catching them. Without seeing them, you are not able to see who is there underwater. It is very difficult job to see each and every actually living beings who are there in the water. But with this technology, without seeing them, without catching them, without having contact with them, just like that of the remote sensing system, here eDNA to eDNA technology, we can compare with the today's most advanced technology, space technology, that is a remote sensing technology. Means remotely we can actually observe them that they are there or they were there but not today. That is the eDNA technology. Environmental DNA arose the idea of obtaining nucleic acid of, first of all, what for it was used. It was not being used for the purpose of the fisheries or for purpose of the assessment of the biodiversity of the aquatic ecosystem. Basically, its story started to actually obtain, to isolate the nucleic acid of microbes directly from the environmental samples. From the productivity point of view, microbes means that they are the most important component. As we know in fisheries also, phytoplanktons, they are the functional units of the fisheries. The story of actually fisheries starts in natural water bodies from the production of the phytoplanktons because they are being considered their primary producers. Then to assess their nucleic acid, for their assessing the biodiversity, it was used, first of all, this technology, eDNA technology in 1986. Then later in 2008, first of all, demonstrated that detection of vertebrates using environmental DNA in water sample was possible. Just after a long period, in 2008, it was being used to assess the presence of the vertebrates. Later, eDNA detection of macroorganisms, not starting, story started from micro, but now it has reached to the macroorganism from water samples. Macro, to say macroorganism means including fish, vertebrates. And so many scientists, they have worked on this line. Then fate of DNA in environment, what happens actually of this DNA? DNA can be degraded by first factor, most important factor is the biotic factors, that is who are bacteria, fungi, and then endonuclease enzymes. They may play role in the degradation of the eDNA or DNA which has been shed by the living beings into the water. Then second to that, even the abiotic factors, and particularly abiotic factors, that is in the UV, ultraviolet radiation, that is the first and foremost abiotic the factor which is responsible, which may cause the degradation of the actually DNA shed into the water. Then next to that is the acidity. Equally, it is important. Temperature, it is most versatile environmental factor. It is known to everyone. It has ability, temperature has ability to affect all the actually type of activities, whether it is the physical activity, biological activity, or the chemical activity. And that's why temperature, we can't exclude the role of temperature. That's why here temperature and so on. Not only this is not the end of the story, other actually abiotic factors, they can also affect the actually persistence of the DNA which has been set out in the aquatic ecosystem by the living beings. That may be fish, that may be the other aquatic animals. Persist in the environment then if it is able to persist, then what will be the fate of it? Then it can be absorbed on organic or inorganic particles. This DNA which has been set out by the living beings in the water, if it is not degraded by the biotic or by the abiotic, these factors or communities, biotic communities or abiotic factors, then it will be absorbed on organic or inorganic matters, and by that, by sampling those. Now what is actually this eDNA? What is being done here? Actually, if you are going to have the study, simply if you are going to have the study of fish, then you will have to catch the fish, then cut the fins, or even at least you have to take the fins for DNA isolation. But for this, actually, with this technology, there is no need of harming the, first, no need of catching the actually the fish or the aquatic animals. Simply by collecting the water or the water bottom sediment, we can go for assessment of the DNA about the presence of how many fish species or how many other aquatic animals or how many the other microbes they are there, they were there and they are there. We can do it. The DNA is either freely dissolved in water. First thing, it is freely dissolved in water. That is the first foremost characteristic, is that DNA is freely dissolved in water, and that's why here water, taking water sample is actually shown by the figure, or is present in cellular debris from slug, skin, fecus, or the mucus. That means we can collect the sediment, we can collect even the sludge, we can have the fecus, whatever things are being collected from the aquatic ecosystem, there is possibility of the presence of the DNA. Environmental DNA refers to DNA collected not directly from the tissue or the organism, not like this, as is normally done, but filtered from an environmental sample and such as a stream water. We need not to pay much more time, we need not to do much more exercise. Simply, you can go to the natural water body. From there, you can collect the water, as well as not only water. You have to, just it has been shown that even the water will be also sufficient, but for actually full evaluation of the presence of all, actually what you have to do, you have to collect the water samples, you have to collect the bottom sediment also, and even if the sludges are there, that has also to be collected by you to have the holistic actually the study of the biodiversity of all actually living beings who were there or who are there. That we can do. Then next to that, that is how we can proceed further of this. Organisms, set slugs, tissue, cell, break down and release DNA into environment, same thing as earlier we have. And then now eDNA sources, what may be the eDNA sources with reference to the actually fish, then skin flakes, next to that fecus as we are talking, then next is even the urine. Now there will be question whether the urine means what? That is the nitrogenous waste material here with reference to the fish. Then next to that comes the cells. Then cells means not cells. That is the cells means the coating. Because we are talking about the aquatic living beings. In that will come the even mollusk will be there. Even the carapace of the crustaceans, that will also serve the purpose of the assessment of the DNA. And that's why here we have cells. Then mucus, along with mucus also, as I said, there will be actually shedding of the skin part. And then next to that, even the hairs we are talking, because we are talking about the all aquatic animals, hairs. Then next to that, eggs or sperm which are released. Then even who have dead, who have the death, and after that death there has been your decomposition from decomposing materials, also that will be also the source of DNA. Then there will be feathers. Then next to that, the saliva, even the saliva which is being actually released by the animals, that will also have the DNA. And plants means in that case, even the pollen grains or leaves, if they are there, that will work as a source and secretion of plasmid and chromosomal actually DNA. That is also happening. All these are the possible, not this is not the end of story. Means if any part, tiny part of the living beings, starting from plant, phytoplanktons to aquatic vertebrates, including fish, any actually part of their actually system, their body, if that is there, that will have the DNA, and that will be there in the water or in the bottom sediment or in the sludge, and from that actually we can assess their presence. That is the concept of eDNA. Same thing has been shown here, how it is being actually there. Now ice or permafrost. Permafrost means actually the layers of the, that is the ice. That within the ice layer, so many actually dead living beings, including plants, other animals, and in the, they are there, they are being frozen there, and they are preserved there, their DNA is preserved. We can collect that actually ice, and we can have it. About the land, we can collect from the actually land, actually soil also we can assess. Lakes, that is from the water and sediment, and sea, from there also the same technique of the taking water samples, then sludge, and then sediments, we can go ahead about the eDNA analysis. Then next to that, what is the major, we can say actually, merit of this eDNA concept? Major merit, not demerit, merit of this eDNA concept is actually, here it has been mentioned, limitation free origin of eDNA. Means these are the merits of eDNA technology. First merit is regardless of the size or the ecology of organism. If the organism is of big size, well, it will be not possible to catch by 2 or 3 people, and that will be not allowed also. Then regardless of size, simply by taking water samples or the sediments, you can actually assess the DNA. Then decomposition of dead organism, not need not to, that animal is there in the living condition, and then there will be the DNA of that animal or that living will be there. Even if it is not there, it has been dead and decomposing, then from that also we can assess the eDNA. Regardless of life stage, their life stage means it is not necessary that only you will be able to assess the eDNA if the adult specimens, adult species of the living beings, they are there. No, there is no limitation of even the life stage also. You start even eggs. If you are collecting, the eggs are being collected. From those eggs also you can assess the presence of that particular actually species of the fish or the animal. And that's why another positive point is that it is regardless of the life stage. Then last one positive point is actually regardless of the gender. There is there is no limit of the gender, that you have to collect the males or only the females DNA you can assess by the eDNA technology. It is not like that. At least there are other merits also, but at least these 4 are the most important merits of this eDNA technology. Next to that come persistence of eDNA. In permafrost, same, that is here, all in aquatic flowing water bodies, it is present in various form, as earlier it was, we have actually seen. Now, how do eDNA differ? That is another important point. How do the eDNA differs from the normal DNA technology? You are catching the animal, then taking the sample of body of the animal, then you are going isolation of the DNA from that, and after that you are actually going for sequencing. Here 3 major features differentiate detection of eDNA from the detection of organism. What is that actually? First thing, you take it, contamination. There is less, actually we can say, chance of its contamination if you are taking the sample, if you are doing the sampling, because Grishma up to some extent she was also involved. Other my students, just recently, two of the students, that is the Dr. Biba Lohani and Dr. Bonka Pant, they had worked totally on the isolation of DNA and actually doing the same thing, comparing the actually snow trouts and mahasir of different actually altitudes, from higher altitude to the Tarai region. And in that, actually always they were very much worried about the contamination of the DNA during the isolation, and then after that they are doing the further processing of the DNA samples. But here in this case, actually there is less chance of the contamination, risk is less, time, no time binding. There is not that today you have to go the collect the samples, take out the samples, and today itself you have to process it. Otherwise, there will be decay of the DNA. This actually problem is not there. Then space. Space means forces can move eDNA far from its source. It is not necessary that if you will not do the sampling today, that DNA which has been set out by the animal, it will go somewhere. It will sediment there. It will be at least part of that DNA which has been shedded by that actually animal or released by the fecus part of the animal. That will remain, at least just some part of DNA of that actually organism will remain there. It will not go far away from its source. And that's why that is also not a problem. These are the actually, we can say, merits. These are the again merits. In other terms, we can say these are the merits, that is there is less chance of actually contamination. Time binding is not there. You can process the sample at any time once you collect the sample from the source of actually the sampling, and then keep it, and whenever you have time, according your own time, you can process it. And then next to that, there is no space, means it is not necessary that if you will go to tomorrow Terry Reservoir or on the same sampling site of the Harike Reservoir, you will be not able to assess, the eDNA will be not there. It will vanish from there. No, it will not happen like that. That is all, these are again the merits. Then here, if you are taking the traditional method of DNA isolation from the sample, animal sample, from microbe sample, that high risk of contamination is there. Slight mistake during the processing of actually DNA isolation, if you are, there is mistake, slight mistake is there, then it will be contaminated, and your whole process of it takes at least your 24 hours. This PCR technology, RT-PCR, which is being very popular now, that is in our lab. All of my students, they know that RT-PCR actually, the technique is that slight mistake, your actually, that will contaminate your DNA sampling, and 24-hour your actually rigorous exercise will go as a waste. Then second to that, time bound. Once you collect the sample, first of all you have to keep at the minus 80 degree actually temperature, and then next to that also, even if you are keeping the live samples for in minus 80 degree, for that also there is time bound. You can't keep the samples under minus 80 degree for longer time. Hardly you can keep it for 24 or 48 hours. Within that time frame of 24 to 48 hours, you have to process your samples. Then space. Today, organism, if you are going, that fish is there in that particular spotting, actually sampling spot of the Harike Reservoir. But tomorrow, if you'll go, there may be chance that species ran away from there somewhere else. You will be not able to have the sample of that actually tissue sample of that fish or that aquatic animal for the purpose of your DNA isolation and sequencing of the DNA. All these are the actually negative demerits of the traditional method of DNA isolation sequencing, and these are the merits of the eDNA technology. Then next to that come intramembranous, example, where it is present, even this actually DNA, why it is so abundant in the water body, even in the fecus, even in the, we said actually along with the urine, feathers and so on, because this actually eDNA samples, they are present in mitochondrial or even in the plant within the chloroplast जो है. Then second to that, actually particulate matter in soil sediments, then they are actually extra membranous. What is the extra membranous? Means within the cytoplasm also they are there. Then free dissolve. Most important point is that actually this DNA is having ability to dissolve. It dissolves in water, and that's why even by having the sampling, water samples also, if it is not possible for you to collect the bottom soil or to collect the sludge, if there is any sort of problem for you, then in that case, actually, simply, at least by having the water sample, we can go for assessment of the DNA of those actually organisms who are there or who were there. That we can do. And then all these are also again the positive points of this technology. Collection of samples, what you will do, that is the normal method, means several soil cores you have to take, pool, and then obtain here minimum 15 ml water, collect from the different sites. It is known normal method, means not from only one side, you have to take from so many sites, and then put the water plus tube filled with the ethanol and sodium acetate. Detailed technique is different, and then ultimately we can frozen or process directly. Whatever you want, you can process or you can keep it frozen forever. There is no problem. Then ponds, again methodology, eDNA, the approach in fisheries resource management. Now particularly we are coming to the fisheries resource management, how it is being used and can be used in future. Dilution of DNA is low. Dilution of DNA is low as stagnant and shallow waters. In stagnant and shallow water, its dilution is very low, and because of that, low dilution, here you, dilution of DNA is low as stagnant and shallow waters, and because of that, if you take the level efficiency of detection is high, probability is 73 to 100% detection. Because of this low actually dilution, percentage of detection is more, that is 73 to 100%. Whoever or there or whoever were there, their presence can be detected in the ponds. Then next to that, if you are coming to lakes, there is a problem. Higher dilution of eDNA due to mixing and large detection possibility. Then here possibility of detection is less than that of the ponds, because dilution is higher. Higher dilution factor is there, and because of higher dilution factor, the probability of detection in term of percentage is less. It is 51%, and here minimum of 73 to 100%. Next to that, if you are coming the rivers, in rivers also dilution of water is extremely high, and they are flowing also. Organisms that occurs in relatively high density show good results, 90%. Those organisms who were, not necessarily that who were or who are in high relative density, their population size is high, or their population size at that time when they were there in that particular zone of the river, if they are at that
Sir, please unmute yourself. It is muted, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
unmute किया हूँ कहाँ?
Yeah. Now it is fine, sir. It was muted, maybe.
No, it's fine.
Automatically, that is because of the network.
Yeah, sir. Okay, sir. No problem, sir.
Simply I am from here, or I have to go back
No, sir. You can continue, sir.
Continue, sir. It's fine.
from here.
Yes, sir. From here, sir.
Soil and aquatic, but in that case, approach in fisheries resource management, particularly now we are coming towards the fisheries resource management about the topic of the FRM. Soil and aquatic sediments, eDNA does not dissolve does not dissolve in soil and sediments like it does in water. That is the first. Means directly it will be not present in the dissolved form. It will be in particulate form there in the soil sediments. In aquatic sediments, DNA concentration can be three or order of magnitude higher than those present in the water column, because reason is the same. Because in water it is dissolved, and water, suppose if it is flowing, then in that case, because of that, actually its presence is less as compared to the sediments. That means what? Actually, along with the water samples, we have to have the collection of the sludge, fecus, as well as the water, actually sediments also, bottom sediments also of the lakes or of rivers or the sea. Then you will be able to have the holistic assessment of the DNA present in that, actually. Now, factors affecting amount of eDNA, volume of water, that is all these are the common things, density of organism, that is their population, size of the organism, volume of secretions, that is the what type of organisms are there, then persistence in the environment, for that what are the factors they are affecting, climatic conditions, abiotic, as we have discussed earlier, and light penetration. We have said light penetration because within the environmental factors next to temperature for this purpose is the light. Why it is so? Why it is so? Because actually organic matter, the organic reactions, they are actually under the control of the light also. Light play the critical role in the organic reactions, and that's why all organic actually compounds or the products or the medicines, they are put in the dark bottles. You have already seen. That's why light is also equally important. What is the level of light penetration? And it will depend on the depth, water depth, as well as the turbidity in the water. And that's why that is light is also playing equal role in the eDNA amount present. Then detecting a single sequence, designing of the sample, how we can go ahead, designing of the sampling strategy. First of all, we have to plan the sampling, whether we have to take the possibility is there only to have the water samples or the sediment samples or the sludge or all together. We have to plan that accordingly. Then collect and store samples, then centrifuge, then use DNA extraction kit we can do, then amplify. That is same thing we have to do by using the RT-PCR. Now the RT-PCR has come. Then we have to use the primers for that also. Then after that we have to go for the DNA sequencing of the DNA which has been actually isolated from that water sample or from sediment or from the sludge. We have to go for sequencing of it. And next to that, most important here is the search from the database, that is the BLAST. This is the software. Major role is of, and same BLAST is being used in the RT-PCR technology which is being used for this bad luck of the whole world, that is the corona. Same this BLAST is being used. This BLAST actually finalize that whether the person is having infection or not. RT-PCR is simply the machine. It isolates, process the DNA of the actually that is present in the saliva. But saliva are what they are taking for samples. Then ultimately this BLAST is being used. What is this BLAST? It is a simply software. You have to put your result of sequencing in that, and then this BLAST is having it is the depository of the sequences of all living beings so far have been actually isolated, then of DNA of whom has been just sequenced, and that is put there, and that is the BLAST. Next to that I will come. What is this BLAST? BLAST is nothing, basic local alignment search tool, as all of us we are using, you people are using. Now we are not that much skilled about the today's technology of this IT technology, but for everything software is being used. Then here actually also again now it comes the software. You have to do nothing. Ultimately decision will be taken by the software. What it will do? The finds region of the local similarity between sequences. Whatever sequences are there in the your DNA, eDNA samples, that sequences are matching with whom? That is matching with whom? The program compares nucleotide or even not nucleotide is not as such, then even the protein sequences, because nucleotides, they are made up of the polypeptide chains, that is the proteins. Then what it does? Actually, it are, if non-nucleotide, then protein sequences to sequences sequence database, which is already there, database is there, and it will compare the sequence nucleotide or the protein sequence of the unknown sample of eDNA which has been obtained from that actually sample, and then it will compare with the depository. Automatically it is happening.
Yes, sir. It's fine,
Is
sir.
it okay?
Yes, sir. It's
Without
okay.
doing that, may with network whatever may be जो है mute हो जा रहा.
No, sir.
Then
ठीक है
It's
sir.
fine, sir. It's fine, sir.
Fine. Thank you,
sequences
sir.
database and calculates, यही नहीं, what it will also calculates after matching, calculates the statistical significance of the matches, whether it is significantly matching with that known sample or not. That is also being done by this BLAST. That is the major, most important is the BLAST software. BLAST can be used, what actually can be used to infer functional, and not only that much, not only that much, that it will say that whatever the database has been obtained in term of the nucleotide or the protein sequence from eDNA collected from the sample, it matches with this actually aquatic animal or this particular fish or this particular living beings who were in past and who are not there. But even it will also actually infer means it will tell you, guide you, enlighten you to assess the functional and evolutionary relations, as well as help to identify members of gene up to the family level. Up to the family level, you will be able to assess that actually this actually organism belonging to this family was present, is there in that water, in that aquatic ecosystem, and now it is not there. At least up to the family level, it will be able to determine, and it will be able to guide you, to infer you means just to guide you. Up to that level, we will be able to reach that actually this much. Today you are known that from the Cyprinidae family in Harike Reservoir, only 20 species are there. But if you go by this technology, it may be possible that by doing using this technology, you will be able to say, okay, today 20 species of Cyprinidae family, they are there in the Harike Reservoir, but yesterday in past, not 20, 30, 40 species were there, who are now not there. Because so many problems are there, man-made problems are there in all the reservoirs, in all the natural water bodies. We are not talking about this technology is not useful for the pond, for the aquaculture. It is for the natural resources. And that's why that type of work is being can be done by this eDNA technology. Up to the family level we will be able to reach. I think it is clear that not exactly that within the Cyprinidae, this is the species of the genus Labio. It will be not able to say, but at least it will guide you up to the family level that actually this is the actually DNA sample of that actually member who are belonging to the family Cyprinidae and who is now not there. Is it clear? Then next to that, now the time from eDNA sampling to results, how much time is being taken? You see, single species approach, if you are taking only one fish, suppose, then generally 4 to 6 weeks within that. Multiple species approach, then 2 to 4 months. All DNA sequences have to be analyzed to match. Why this much time is being taken? Because the time in taken by the BLAST, major time is being taken by the BLAST by using that software. Once you will put in that software so many times, it will take time to match because crores of sequences are there, millions of sequences are there. Then that blast has to match one by one, one by one, one by one with the each and every sequence. And then after that, you will have the final result. This time, whatever time is being actually taken or used, that is 4 to 6 weeks, or this case 2 to 4 months, that is actually only take time taken by the blast for the purpose of sequencing. Then cost effectiveness. If you will compare cost effectiveness, I have to finish exactly by the 12 o'clock. Is it so? Grishma?
So you can continue.
I have to
You can
finish
continue.
exactly
No,
by
sir,
12
no, sir.
o'clock?
No, sir,
no,
not
sir.
exactly. You
Okay.
can continue. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Then cost efficiency, let us see, depends on the target species. First and foremost is that what is your target species? Accordingly, the actually cost will be involved actually for secretive. Secretive means of whom, those species of whom, particularly the fishes, of whom catch is very difficult by us, either by using the nets or by hand or cast nets, whatever. So even by using all sort of catch technology gears, you are not or we are not able to catch them. Then their presence can actually we assess with the help of this eDNA is often more cost efficient than traditional method because of its higher detection possibility. Without doing much more efforts, they are using just so many manpower, then using so many type of the gears, doing all this all sort of efforts to catch that secretive species which is having a very high level of secretion of the mucus and that is escaping from your gear and everything. Then for that need not to worry, need not to use manpower and much more time. We can go for the DNA, and by DNA we can assess that how many species of that particular family from whom that security species is belonging or there or where there. Then that has been done by this scientist. Dijan calculated that eDNA method was 2.5 times cheaper than less time consuming than the traditional method for surveying invasive American bullfrog. Invasive means in unauthorized. Invasive species means it is known to us that invasive species are those who are actually have got the entry, unauthorized entry without visa. Suppose if you take the common carps, silver carp, grass carp, all of them, we have actually given the visa to them. We have tested them, we have allowed them, but there are so many species. Now you take the Ganga river system. You might be knowing that in Ganga river system, now the percentage of the invasive species is more than even the Clarius gariepinus, which is very dangerous, which has been banned totally in our country, that Clarius gariepinus, that is dominating even to other invasive species. That tilapia is there, then big head is there, then so many other. Even just recently in Varanasi, one more species has been detected in the Ganga. That is the piranha. Can you imagine? And my senior colleague, who is the head and of the Department of the Zoology Fisheries Division, also heading, he Dr. Bechan, he has been buried, and all the media people, they are reaching to him that how it has come. It has come because from the aquarium people who are using this actually piranha, which is totally banned invasive species for the aquarium, and from somewhere else someone has released the fishes of its aquaria into the stream, into the flowing water body without having knowledge. Let them, instead of killing it, let us release in the this particular rivulet or in the river, and ultimately it has reached to the Ganga river system. And just you can imagine about the fate of the other species. You are known about the piranha food and feeding habit. It is the voracious, very dangerous predator fish. That is the story. That's why we can actually, without doing anything, we can assess such type of invasive species which are very, very dangerous, deleterious for our aquatic native aquatic ecosystem and the indigenous gene pool of the fishes. Then next to that, BICS estimated for greater crest nave. एक और, to obtain the same detection probability, eDNA survey will 6 to 10 times. He said in first study 2.5 times cheaper. He said actually in his study that actually that group of BICS group of scientists that not only 2.5 but this eDNA is 6 to 10 times cheaper than that of the classical survey using combination of torch counting and bottle traps and taking their samples and so on. That is the applicability of eDNA in fisheries, in every species assessment. That is the first and foremost important thing is that with the help of this eDNA, without going for the sampling, that piranha in Ganga river system near to Varanasi, accidentally it was being caught by the fishermen because the fishing is allowed there near to the Varanasi, not Rajghat, beyond the Rajghat, not on this the bank of the Varanasi city. It is allowed, license. Fishermen they have the license. Then they caught this actually piranha there and of the big size. Then we can have the assessment of the invasive species by this technology without doing much more effort. Then biodiversity analysis we can do it without in a cheaper way. Analysis of species distribution pattern also. Even next to that, first that is the invasive, and next to that if will come this, we can have the knowledge, we can develop the knowledge about the extinct species, that they were there, these species were there, but who are not now, they are there in that water body. They have been extinct. If not from all water bodies, then at least from that natural water body, that lake or reservoir or of the stream of river, that particular stage, they are not there, they were earlier. That we can do. That is the first point is most important. Next to that is this point. That is we can have develop the knowledge of the extinct species. Then we can do also the biomass also. It is not possible for us, with all of us, to go and screen out all the actually fishes or all the living beings who are there in the aquatic ecosystem, either in Harike Reservoir or in the Terry Reservoir. They are so large that it is not possible at all for us. Then by this technology, by having the actually the diversity, eDNA, DNA diversity, we can assess their biomass. How many species are there? What is their density? Actually, in that way we can do it. Then estimating population size also we can do, species detection, genomic analysis of particular actually unknown known, that we can do. Then biomonitoring also we can do. Then study of the common and ecosystem processes, what type of ecosystem process are going on in that aquatic ecosystem, everything indirectly. These are the indirectly. Here directly we can do this is the, and we can do this also with the help of eDNA. Then major breakthrough in fisheries resource management so far, what has been done by using the eDNA technology. Let us see that also. इसको एडमिट करो, सचिन को ही है भाई. सचिन साहब लेट क्यों है, जो ये हिंड्रेंस क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. यू अलाउ हिम, सचिन को. Now several organisms, whoever is the administrator, be careful, allow within no time, because that is flashing on the screen creating problem for me in the actually. Several organisms collect eDNA of, now you see what is that story. Another importance of it is eDNA is that only you will be not able to have the profile of the DNA of that organism, but even several organisms collect eDNA of other species by feeding on them. Feeding on them is, suppose if you are taking the omnivorous species or detrivorous species, what they will do? They will feed on the actually eDNA of other organisms also who that is there in the detrivores, in detritus material. And by that way, doing the sampling, taking the fecus of that organism who have fed on the actually eDNA of other, you will be able to detect that actually is an animal also. Next to that, studies on their diet can give information for species that are present in that area. Simply by doing the diet, fecus, diet means that by taking the fecus, or as we are saying in fisheries, gut analysis. If you are taking not gut analysis, because for that you will have to catch the fish. Simply by taking the fecus, waste material of the fishes or from the sediment, you will be able to assess their food and feeding habit also. Crucial knowledge, then home ranges size, where they were and where now they are there. One of the person from Aligarh, just it is for information of the students and the faculty members, as well as my dear students who are their faculty members. Once I went to Aligarh, that fellow has been simply using a very, very simple technology of autolith, biochemistry, microchemistry of autolith, and he is having 5 crores project. He is simply assistant professor having 5 crores, two project. One is of 3 crores and another is of 2 crores. Afzal Khan, bad luck his name. Afzal Khan, he is my very close colleague and he is very sincere worker. Means that is need not to go for very high technology. He is simply using the autolith just like that of the eDNA. All these are the new concept. By doing the autolith, he is able to say where this fish is breeding, what is the breeding ground of a particular fish in the Ganga, what is the feeding ground of the particular fish in the Ganga, and what is the nursery ground of the fish in the Ganga. Because according what he is doing, analyzing the actually water quality, why, how many type of metals are the elements are present in that particular stretch of the river Ganga. He started from Narora up to the Varanasi, then matching that actually presence of the elements, samples collected from that species from different zones. Whether it is, if it is matching, that means if Narora sample, element sample is there in the otolith of that fish, that it means that fish is breeding there and coming up to the Varanasi for its purpose of way of feeding and for other purposes. That is the otolith. That's why here home range size. Then next to that, migratory possibility, that we can actually, who are the migratory fishes. We are known that this fish is not migratory. But if you'll go for assessment, if the DNA, eDNA, by eDNA method, you are observing the DNA of that particular species somewhere else, far, far away from its native place, which is known in records, that it is the native of this particular stretch of the river or reservoir. But now if you are observing its DNA somewhere else, then what you can say? It is migratory, it is migrating. It was not migratory, but now it is migrating because of it maybe some problem is there in that particular stretch of the river. That knowledge also we can get. Behavior of the sampler species, we can assess the behavior also. Time is okay. I am also observing going fast. Limitations, let us see the limitation. Whenever you will say, I will stop it. Limitations, that is the do not equally sample all the RDs. That is the means invariably it may be possible that you will be not able to have the all the uncertain where a particular species found in a diet comes from. That exactly position, that whether this species is of native of this particular zone or it has come for some purpose here, and then after that it has set out the DNA and that is coming in the eDNA sampling. That can be done. Then pre-predator relationship we can do. Then these are the large number of eukaryotes phyla that has been detected with the eDNA, because now detection of security species we have already discussed there. That is so many security species, particularly if you are taking weather fish is a security species that is very hard to catch with the traditional method. It is very hard to catch this fish. It actually hides in the gravels and you will be not able to have the catch. You will be not able to assess its density or the population size. But by assessing the eDNA, with the eDNA technology, we can do so. about this actually very hard and escapy fish. eDNA is at least 1.5 times more cost effective than that of the traditional method. Then so many work determination in endangered species, that also we can do it with the eDNA. Detecting invasive species, same thing. First used to detect the presence of the American bulldog, that we have already discussed about the 2008 story. Then the detection of invasive species, how we can do. Now detection of an invasive species, this is the very dangerous one. It has been possible to detect red swamp crayfish, considered one of the top 100 most harmful invasive alien species in Europe, and it was possible to detect its actually presence in different water bodies. Only it was possible after the invention of this eDNA technology. Earlier it was not possible. It was not being detected. And that has been out of total, that every database has been here. And you have the PowerPoint presentation also. Whoever the students, they want to take the detail, you can share it. You can share among yourself. There is no problem. Biomonitoring of the resources also. Use of environmental DNA for the early detection of big head carp before they establish population within the Great Lake. Now you know the story of our actually the here also in our India also. I am not facilitating, I am not in favor of at all about. It may be just shocking for you, but from being the aquarium person, I do not favor for the this big head. Even okay for control aquaculture, you can go for big head, you can go for the Pangasius. Why not anyone is doing effort for the our indigenous species of the Pangasius suchi? Pangasius. We are going for Pangasius suchi. That means we have to have the in control condition. Then this was the problem, and it was not able to detect where, in what, how many water bodies actually, and in which particular lake it is there. Then ultimately, after the invention of eDNA, it was possible to detect that no doubt this great lake, in this great lake, this big head has been got the introduction, and it has been established also. Then other so many eDNA method alongside the conventional sampling method that we are doing. Then species richness, that is also possible to do with the eDNA. You might have been taught, or you will be taught, the students, about the species richness. Denier et al. Performed a study in Glot River catchment in the Switzerland. With the help of the eDNA, it was possible. And then that some recent studies of the eDNA in aquatic resources, that has been given, a story started up to the started from 2016, 17, 17, 18, and now we are going fast. In particularly in every year, this actually the magnitude of research using the eDNA in the freshwater, that is increasing. It started one in 17, 2, in 18, 1, 19, 2, and then in 20, if you take 2020, at least 3 studies has been done. Means the frequency of use of the eDNA for the purpose of biodiversity, it is increasing and increasing day by day. Its importance is increasing. Then all these are the database about, we need not to go. Now, if you'll see, if you'll permit, Dr. Prabjit, Grishma, can I take some more time?
Sure, sir.
कितना टाइम हमें दे रहे हैं आप लोग? How much time you are allowing?
Sir, you conclude, no problem. Please, you finish.
I will take few minutes there.
No problem, sir. Not at all.
No problem, sir.
Now this is because this is the most important actually graphical presentation. Correlative efficiency of classical and eDNA method. Simply if we'll take, here is the species richness, because always in population dynamics we are talking, in ecology also we are talking about the species richness with the help that ultimately we are concluding something about that species. How we will take? By classical sampling, this is the position of the species richness, means just showing, suppose 50%. real richness of that species. Real means what? Who are there in life, who are at present there, who are at present there. Their percentage, if you take, then we can say 65. But by using eDNA, what type of actually richness is being observed? That is being observed more or less, we can say 75%. That means we are more than 65, I said, for the real local richness, and say 5% here means 10% more richness is where there, but that was not being detected by all sort of your efforts or the technology. And by the classical method, simply as we go collect the samples of the fish and animals, and then according that we are calculating this species richness. By that was very low, 50%. But even with the eDNA, 10% more richness we are able to calculate. Because why this 10%? 10% is showing higher richness with the real, because it is including of those species also who had been there but who are not there, who are actually today not there. That is the possible with the eDNA technology. Next to that, another graph I would like to share. That is about the correlative efficiency of this actually the traditional method and eDNA with reference to percent of detection. Now, if it is high density, if the organism is present in the high density, means the population size is large, then there is no problem. Whether you are using the traditional method or the eDNA method, you will be able to have the 100%. Even in that condition also, slightly less than that of the eDNA, actually, you will get, suppose if green is below, that means with the help of traditional method, even in the high density, large population size of species is there. In that condition also, you are not able to have the 100% assessment of the species richness, 99% we can say. But with the eDNA, we are able to assess the 100% richness of that species, because in that, the past one also they are included. Now, you move here on the x-axis. If the density is low, then their problem starts with the low density. Then by this traditional method, you will be not able to, by traditional method, you will say that they are not there. Their richness is zero. Their richness is zero. This species richness in that particular water body is zero. But with the help of eDNA, even if they are in the negligible number, if their density is very negligible, in that condition also you will be able to assess their percentage, because this yellowish color is appearing here, but this green one is not appearing. That means with the help of eDNA, even the least presence of that species is being detected, that is possible to detect. These are the advantages. We have already potential risk. Last, potential risk about the equipment must be sterilized. Other things are there. Here actually inability to distinguish. Repeated temporal sampling of area we have to do. eDNA not detected where target species is present. Optimizing protocols and sufficient sensitivity is needed in the collection of samples. Challenges are there. These are the challenges. What are the challenges in eDNA approach? Low quantity, if it is dissolved, as it is soluble in the water, that's why most of the cases the presence of low quantity, that is the first actually limitation for eDNA technology. Second to that is the eDNA means the shredded DNA in the aquatic system, it is easily fragmented, and that's why fragmentation is another limitation for this technology. Contamination equally, because so many waste materials and other things are also released in the same water body, they may contaminate. Contamination again is another limitation. And uncertain about the fecundity. Fecundity means actually how the species they are progressing, they are recruiting, they are actually increasing their population. size is increasing or decreasing on the basis of this eDNA that we can't assess, we can't ascertain. That is another limitation of this eDNA technology, because always there are plus and minus, negative merits and demerits. Always they actually both go together, and that's why here are these demerits are there of the e-technology, eDNA technology. We have to work out, we have to overcome to these problems in due course of time. It will be resolved. And then the ecology of eDNA, about design, collection of samples, how you will do, that is the actually researchable issues in the field. Those demerits are the researchable issues, particularly if you take then preparation of database on Indian fish in India. We have to do complete database of, unless until we do not have actually, because what is the problem with us? We are always deviating from our basic responsibility. Then I will not pinpoint the organization who is responsible to keep this database. It is known to everyone. They have to do their duty. Their duty is to keep the complete genetic profiling of all the species of the country who are there, so that then this type of work will be very easy. Easily we can match with the job. Once that database is not put in the BLAST actually depository, we will be not able to match. That is the first thing we have to do. Migration study also we have to do, the aquatic organism as well as the particularly the fish. Work on conservation side also we have to do, extent of effect of environmental factors. We said something, some initial work has been done, that these are the ultraviolet, temperature, then acidity, these are the factors. Abiotic and biotic factors are there who can affect the persistence of the eDNA, but it needs further research. Further research we have to do, how we can overcome these problems, abiotic or biotic factors who are deteriorating the eDNA, presence or persistence of eDNA in the aquatic ecosystem. Then about the concluding remarks are all that actually among all the goodness of eDNA technology, the greatest benefit of eDNA is it reduces cost effectiveness. The young field of eDNA appears to have a promising future, although for full exploration, further basic studies are very much needed. It is the initial stage, in juvenile stage, this eDNA technology is there. We have to work hard for this. It's the foolproof development of optimization of this eDNA technology. Like you people, younger people, students and faculty members, all of you have to work for this actually. Now it is beyond our command, because we are the old people, we are going away. Hardly in 1.5 years or 2 years, most of your elders, your gurus, they will retire, they will be out of the scene, out of the screen. And then it is the responsibility of you people to work out for optimization. Once someone has worked, someone has enlightened you that this is the new concept, it is the responsibility of you people, you means all the students and young faculty members, to optimize this technology. Whatever challenges or drawbacks are there, limitations are there, you have to resolve those limitations, and then to develop the foolproof e-technology. Then it will be better for all of us, for fisheries, for aquarium, as well as a whole fisheries. Then what I can say, thank you for your patience, Datta ji. And to audience with folded hands, again I pay my regard to my elders, senior colleagues, to students, good luck and good wishes, and to all of you who are the faculty, their faculty of the Fisheries College of Fisheries of Gadbasu, but my students, it is, I am very, very lucky, and it credit goes to all of you that you fixed my webinar on 31st, and that's why exactly I am able to give you good wishes for 2020-21. And by this way, once again, regards to all, good luck and good wishes to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for such a wonderful lecture as always, and for enlightening us with a new and innovative approach of the research. This is beneficial for all the participants, I think, and especially for the research students who can take up it as their research project. So thank you once again, sir. And now forum is open for discussion and interaction with respectable speakers, sir.
Sir, it was a wonderful, sir. You have enlightened us, sir. Oh, we went into the back era of our teaching, sir, when you used to teach us. You took us to back to that era, sir. It was wonderful. Sir, Abhishek sir has joined. You were searching Abhishek, sir.
Let us see.
Yeah,
We will
yes.
discuss later.
Let us
Yes,
see.
join.
Yes.
नमस्ते
अरे
सर
आ गए हो यार, तुम कहाँ थे? हम देखना चाह रहे थे भाई.
Question, any query, or you want to interact with sir, you may ask your questions.
Normally, students, they do not ask the questions. They know everything.
Students. Dr. Jitendra, please unmute yourself.
Sir, there is some question in chat box. Can I
Yes, sir.
Yes?
ask on behalf of students? There is a one question from, I think, he is asking if I collect the seawater sample from the Arabian Sea, whether all the DNA sample, animals DNA will be present, or only fish sample?
No, all, whatever I said is starting from plant, all living beings who have set their body parts or the tissue or the cells, their DNA will be there in that sample. I started from the microorganism, even the microorganism, if they are there, whatever microorganisms are there, macro are there, all, not only the fish, all actually living beings DNA, that will be there in that sample. And that's why in blast matching, it takes time, because actually that has to be matched with the depository of DNA sequence or the nucleotide sequence or protein sequence of all living beings, one by one, one by one. That's why normally months were being taken. That was being taken by the blast actually software. Next.
सर आई हैव
Dr. Jitendra, unmute yourself, Dr. Jitendra.
नहीं, और भी चैट बॉक्स में और कुछ नहीं है. That's all.
No, one more student has asked. He's writing, sir, eDNA is just taking the DNA of the species from the sediment and making the fingerprint and matching with its order with help of blast. Can eDNA can be used for microorganisms? He's asking.
Yes, yes. Its story started, as I said, its story started, actually use of this technology story started from the isolation of the DNA of microorganism itself, as it started in earlier slides. First of all, I said it was used in 2000 purposely for isolation of the DNA of microorganisms. Then later on, taking into consideration its importance, we have moved forward. The scientists have moved forward for its use in the fisheries also. Use of fisheries is the recent concept. First of all, it has been used to assess the actually presence of the microorganism. That is equally possible. The story started from there.
Okay, sir. Any other participant want to interact? They can unmute themselves and ask, please.
सर आई हैव वन क्वेश्चन स्मॉल क्वेश्चन सर
अरे हमारे स्टूडेंट, let us allow him. हाँ, okay. Go ahead.
सर फ्रॉम एक्वाकल्चर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू बहुत सारे हब्स वगैरह हम वी यूज इन एक्वाकल्चर फीड एंड वी मेजर ग्रोथ सर्वाइवल इम्यूनोलॉजिकल पैरामीटर्स ऑल दैट एट डीएनए लेवल और आरएनए लेवल कैन वी डू सम स्टडीज कि अगर हब्स दे रहे हैं या कुछ और भी इम्यूनोस्टिमुलेंट दे रहे हैं तो डीएनए लेवल पे क्या स्टडी कर सकते हैं जिससे कि हमें एग्जैक्ट पता लगे कि यार डीएनए लेवल और जीन लेवल ये चेंजेस आ रहे हैं जिससे कि हमें ये ग्रोथ अच्छी मिल रही है या फिर इम्यूनिटी अच्छी मिल रही है, ऐसा कुछ कर सकते हैं?
This eDNA technology is not actually for assessment of the total DNA, whether it is its sequencing. Only up to that, that is the possibility you people have to resolve. Even it can be used in a different way for that purpose also. What we can do, you can optimize this technology that actually today of the controls, you can have the profiling, then with the eDNA, once it is released, and then from actually feed also, you assess the eDNA of that actually what type of feed you are providing, and then comparing. But it is at present we can't say, because for that purpose you will have to study the change in the sequencing of the eDNA of that species of which, because of feeding by particular feed, you are having observing the better growth. That means something has happened with the DNA is not going to change of that species. Only possibility is that there may be the sequence of nucleotide that has been changed because of that feed. That is possibility is there, but that possibility cannot be worked out with the help of eDNA. eDNA purpose is only to assess the presence of the species or the actually living beings.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
As per my knowledge, because it is a just new emerging topic, I got it. So I thought that let us have the webinar on this new concept. That is only because it is Nile.
Sir, it was very informative lecture. We have learned a lot. We have learned this term blast and all these things. But today, I am able to tell what is blast and all these things after listening your lecture.
All the PG and PhD students, if they want, knowledge has to be disseminated, to be shared. I send to Grishma also. What is there actually? Coming together is a beginning. It is my life concept. And you have observed also. Then keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Then what I want, this point I have sent it to Dr. Prabjit and Dr. Grishma also, whoever PhD students. One of the PhD students, she is doing here actually, always she is having problem with me, where you are going. Once there was DC, then the first actually candidate which was called in that DC, I was the chairman, and that was the Gulgul. Then just I had like this, Gulgul, you had been there in this case? By luck, he was caught in that actually trap.
Okay,
Then
sir.
you can give them, or you can have the special lecture on this by using the same
Hello.
PowerPoint if they are interested.
Sir,
Hello.
we have another participant. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Dr. Radhakrishnan, please.
Okay.
Thank you, respected Dr. Ram. I heard a lot about you, and I am a faculty member in College of Fisheries, Tripura, under Central Agricultural University. And I am also working in Department of Fisheries Resource Management. Heard a lot about you, a great teacher, and I'm very lucky to have you as a presenter today on a very new topic. Of course, it can be conceivable, it can be practiced as a research issue. Sir, I have a few concerns, in fact, about this eDNA concept. Of course, sir detailed that this is more applicable to detect a species presence. And also, of course, for invasive species, it is very, very applicable. There are a lot of success stories. But how much it can be applied for assessing the biomass and population size is, I feel a little
The
bit
reason is that
concerned.
why it has been said biomass, because in FRM I am teaching the since my training to all of them, the population dynamics also. Very difficult courses was being given to me, and that with them I am continuing. And one of the most difficult course was the population dynamics at that time, and today also it is equally difficult.
Yeah, I am
25 years teaching the concept of the population dynamics was clear. Now it is clear in my mind. You are
same
talking
topic.
about the biomass. Once biomass, in the sense it has been said, once we are able to assess that how many really species are there, as we are talking about the percentage species richness. Once we are known about the richness, species richness, with that actually there are so many other models. in that putting the database of the species richness indirectly, directly in population dynamics. What is that name of that course? Population dynamics and stock assessment. It is not the stock estimation. It is assessment, means simply we can assess, we can guess about the biomass. Then once we are able to know the species richness, then putting in those models actually species richness, we can assess that this may be the possible biomass of this species there in that water body. Indirectly, we can
Right, sir.
assess only, we can't estimate.
Because,
That
sir,
exactly.
Sir, right, sir. Because if you are getting 100 sequence from based on eDNA from a particular water body, maybe this 100 sequence may not be belong to the 100 species. Maybe
Yeah.
a few species only may be there. Because it is all the species may not leave any trace of eDNA sequence, may not be, or even the trace may be by the time passing of the time may be slowly eliminated
sir.
from the system. So in that aspect, anyway, SR is very very sure about it. Then it is okay. Maybe I can also write you some, because I am handling the same subject here, population dynamics and stock assessment. So my second question is that, of course, we can detect the species, but in fisheries resource assessment, the size, sex, life history is also the matters.
Yeah.
You know it. So since eDNA may not be giving such a answer.
All these are what I said. All the,
Yeah.
it is just juvenile. This technology
Right, sir.
at the juvenile stage. I said not even adolescent. I said
Exactly.
juvenile stage.
Exactly.
You people have to work
Have
out
to explore.
all these limitations. These are
Right.
the limitations
Exactly.
equally, and you have to work out. It is
Definitely.
the responsibility of all of you younger people
Yeah.
to resolve.
Exactly. And maybe
one point you can note down, my students also, whoever had been the stalwart of fisheries in whether in India or in any country, you might have been heard about the Goswami, then Guraya Sahab, my guru, Dr. Satyanesan
sir.
from BHU.
Okay.
They took one topic for whole life.
Okay.
For whole life, Dr. Satyanesan was working only on the fish neuroendocrinology, not the endocrinology.
Okay. Right.
And sir, what I
Dr. Guraya from the PIU at that time, Dr.
Okay.
Guraya, he actually took only one topic. That was actually the reproduction. Only
Okay.
the ovary, not the testes, not
All
the
right.
whole reproduction. You people also have to take only one topic and go ahead. If eDNA is researchable for you, it is better. You go with this.
Right, sir.
Starting from head to tail, you have to work out because it is the juvenile, at the juvenile stage. You have to nourish it and develop it to the adult
Definitely.
stage. It is the
Yes, sir.
responsibility of you people. It is equally new for you as well as for me also.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right, sir. Right.
Sir, as sorry to intervene, sir, as Ram sir said about stock assessment, as Dr. Radhakrishnan, sir, this is Dr. Prabhjeet. You asked a very relevant question about the stock biomass. What I feel, because I am handling the fish population dynamics and stock assessment, like
Okay.
you in the college. What I feel in the dynamic water ecosystem, again, only eDNA will not only be the tool for assessment of stock biomass, because you know that how dynamic our system is. It has
Right.
to be coupled. It has to be
Exactly.
coupled with other stock assessment.
It should be substituted with the traditional
Yeah,
method.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Exactly.
Traditional
be
can't, we can't ignore to traditional people, to
Definitely.
traditional technology, because what is the, let us have one more thing. What is the difference in the technological development of the or project development of the developed countries, and we are so far developing and we will be developing countries?
Yes, sir.
Reason is
Right.
that what happens, their concept, we have already taught them to all of them. What is their concept? They started study or the project development knowledge based survey from the baseline, from the farmers. What is your problem? How we can resolve your problem? But here, everything will come from the top,
Apex.
and ultimately we
Yes,
have to
sir.
do it.
Right.
Our earlier the agriculture minister was here. He was ready, said, I will give just this much crores of money to whom? To state government. You are the people who have to work hard and to double the actually this farmers income. I said with the folded hands, sir, how much of share from that crores of money will come to this GB Pant University, sir? Okay, we are ready to actually share responsibility. We are doing our sincere efforts, but how much money will come? There was no answer.
The same problem, sir, for taxonomy, since it is a FRM forum. Taxonomy, now everybody is only interested in DNA taxonomy. Nobody is there to study the basic morphometry.
Any of you have developed the e-content on taxonomy?
No, sir.
No, not that. Sir.
I can say, because now it is beyond my job purview. I have so many job problems.
Sir.
Not problems, but I am not able to do either. Whoever so wants to develop the e-content, Grishma or the U Radhakrishnan, whoever wants, I can give the full actually detail, all the whatever the assets I have with me in the form of PowerPoint. You can develop it. What is the problem with that? As I had been joint director for 12 years, for most of the time, at the time of retirement on 31st or 30th date, there was function, vice chancellor was there, all the people who were retiring, they were there, their actually relatives were there, and we were able to say something about them. I said once, Dr. Manglara, he was the honorable vice chancellor of this university. Then I said, sir, our knowledge will be there, will be available in form of thesis, publication, books. But these actually people who are retiring farmers to whom we used to say labor, they are the persons who are putting the actually the milestones. We are only caretaker. We have to extract their knowledge in any form. We work out the technology. Then he said, all such persons you point out and I will reappoint them. Reappoint them who are that much skilled. That is the problem. So what I want to say, that I want to actually give my database to these younger people, all of you younger people, whoever so wants to develop the e-content on the taxonomy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Whoever will ask, I will send.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And a very happy New Year to respected sir and all the participants and the faculty.
Same to you, sir.
I am
Thank
so
you.
lucky. I am so lucky that I have been actually allowed to give the webinar. Here,
Yes,
Delhi webinar is
Definitely.
going on. It is not my stage to attend the webinar. Then it was requested by all my dear students and faculty members of Gadwasu. Then I agreed, okay, I will do it.
In fact, your enthusiasm, this spirit is an encouragement for all of us,
Yes.
faculties and also our own students.
Then
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other participants who want to interact?
students,
Ma'am, we can request the participant to switch on their cameras
Okay.
for the group photo.
Okay. Okay, Amani. Participant, please switch on your cameras for a group
So that we
photograph.
can have a group photograph, please.
So we can have a virtual group photograph.
हाईटेक हो तुम लोग. अच्छा, तो ये रजिंदर कर रही है गो.
Participants.
They didn't ask any question. It is usual process. They didn't ask any question. Lavdeep Sharma admit. इसको